everybody. Welcome back to, welcome back. Oh, well, you know what? Welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host, James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. Again, want to take a little bit of time here to shout out my beautiful new microphone from Elgato. They sent me a Wave 3 microphone for free, and it is amazing and wonderful, and I'm glad to have, some modern technology instead of a 10-year-old microphone. So, hopefully all of my sound problems will be good, and we will have clear and crisp audio from this point forward. It's been a funny week in fighting games because somehow, we got all this new information about games all at once, which is the weirdest thing, dude. It all just kind of came out at the same time and out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting all this stuff. So weirdly enough, I actually get to use more than 2 slots of my topic board over here. So I actually have 5 topics here, and you can see right now information about Street Fighter 6, information about KOF 15, information about Tekken, information about Virtua Fighter, right? And it's crazy because every time I feel we're fighting game news is starting to slow down. We get all this brand new stuff. So one of the surprising ones, even though obviously we knew that Mai was coming to Street Fighter as the next DLC, despite the fact that their horrible graphic at the end of their trailer makes it look like she comes last. And so a whole bunch of people are like, I thought Elena was next. And no, it's Mai, but I can't blame you because their graphic is terrible. We'll see that in just a second. But they dropped a Mai Shiranui trailer out of nowhere. And Shiranui, I think is how you pronounce it. I always called it Shiranui or it's but I think it's but I know some people say Shiranui, but I don't like that either because I don't think it's Nui. I think it's Shiranui or something like that. Anyways. So we have a new Mai trailer that dropped, and of course, all the teasers that always drop are the, if you remember, they're always the World Tour intros. So John World Tour gets to run into yet another fighter and get shocked and scared, and you would think by now that everything that he sees, he would just be whatever, I've been poisoned, I've almost been killed by this demon guy, this dude with a cap almost punched me in my chin, right, but it's the accent is on the R, right? So the way that I heard it, I looked it up. It's supposed to be Shiranui, right? Shiranui, I think is how it's supposed to be pronounced. So JP, dude, this guy should be seriously, nothing should shock John World Tour anymore. JWT should just be walking around everywhere and just be whatever. So, well, to be fair, there really is no accent on Japanese words, so there's really not supposed to be an accent. So it probably just be Shiranui, right? Shiranui, basically, right? So, but yeah, see, Nui doesn't sound right. Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be, right? So it's supposed to be Shiranui, right? It's it's hard. I can't speak Japanese, so Shiranui, something like that. In any case, but. Yeah, anyways, look, forget it. Let's just watch the trailer, okay? Okay. But I have the English trailer, right? So I don't know if it's correct here either. Oh, I see. We've actually got a little, an actual site here that will actually pronounce it for us, huh? All right, I'll check it out in a second, but let's check out this Mai teaser over here.
If I piqued your interest, I can teach you all the Shiranui techniques you can handle. Come find me on Aokigahara. Don't keep a good girl waiting.
Shiranui. And then weird random ninjas. I like the fact fact that the ninjas actually all have different, like different body shapes too. I love that shot, dude. I love that shot so much.
Oh, you finally made it. The Shiranui clan welcomes you.
So yeah, this is the horrible graphic, of course. The one that has confused everybody.
Welcomes you.
Because it was Bison, Terry, Elena, and Mai, Winter 2025. So everyone seemed to have thought that this meant she was coming out in December of 2025. And you're just like, what? Like, how do you even make that like, it's a season 2 character, right? Like, she can't be. I don't know. It was weird. But in any case, yes, Mai Winter 2025 could mean January. So assuming it's going to be January, but Olaf kind of had a good estimation here. We always have the month before the character comes out to be the lead up to it, right? And so for the battle pass, and because the battle pass right now is nothing, most likely January is going to be the pre-Mai battle pass, and then February will be the Mai is Coming battle pass, and she will be released at the end of February. Most likely is what we're looking at over here. And honestly, like, I mean, speaking of John World Tour, right? Like, I mean, by the time you run into Mai, you've probably learned like 90 different characters and like have leveled everything up. Like when Mai launches at you like that, you would probably end up kicking her ass, right? Like you're John World Tour, you've already did everything. Like how in the world is like, like I don't understand. So, oh man. So yeah, there's the Mai teaser trailer that came from basically nowhere. We were not expecting it to drop, except like I think Olaf kind of predicted it or something like that. It was really weird, but I mean, I guess he was just kind of ready for the timing of it. But yeah, that flame kick that she does at the very beginning, that is a move that she's had in old Fatal Furies. That was like this kind of her uppercut move. But she, like in a lot of the KOF games, like she had it, I think in one of the old KOF games and then didn't have it after a while or something like that. But that's basically one of her moves. So seeing that, you know, it might be safe to assume that that's going to be one of her moves. And yeah, you know, a lot of people have mentioned that, you know, her face doesn't look right. Olaf has said a lot of people think she almost looks more like partially Latin, like she has like a Latin kind of a flair to it or whatever, you know. But you know, honestly, the hardest part about this is that I think one of the reasons why this looks kind of odd is that Mai has always had a thinner, pointier face. She looks like she has a very round face here. What this actually ends up doing is it makes it look like it's either somebody else or a very, very young Mai. Right? It looks like a very young Mai Shiranui. So like I think her face should have been longer and a little pointier, basically. So I don't know if it's gonna change. I mean, like the Terry obviously looked a little bit better once we actually got to the release version. I'm sure this is gonna look a little bit better as it goes on, but I mean, again, I talked about this on Synchronize. You know, one of the biggest weaknesses of Street Fighter 6's graphics is that it's this weird straddles the line between realistic graphics and anime graphics kind of thing. And so it's kind of a little bit tough, right? Like you have to kind of, like, because it's like half each and half, you know, like there's a little bit of kind of like a, what do you call it? Like a uncanny valley to it, right? Which is why I think a character like Aki looks so good, because Aki is a character that's super leaned into the very cartoony look. So I think that's why she works really well. But Maya is one of these characters that you know has to look kind of very realistic and kind of beautiful, and you can't really try to make her too crazy looking. But I mean, like, you look at that shot right there. Like, I mean, I love this shot. Like, I love the way that this looks here. But I think the reason why this looks a lot better is because you can't see the bottom of her face. So like I said, I think her face is too round. And so, like, because she's blocking that part of the face, you can kind of almost imagine it to be a little bit of a longer, thinner face, and it just kind of works out or something like that. So, yeah, I know some people still don't think that Terry looks right. So, yeah. Oh, you're right. So, Petty, a lot of people have said she looks like Shinkiro's Mai. That's what a lot of people are saying. Like, it almost seems like they based her off of Shinkiro's Mai as opposed to, like, other interpretations of her, right? So, and I think that's kind of what a little bit of that is, right? Like, I mean, if you get used to Obari's Mai and stuff like that, very distinct, very, very clear, distinct facial features and stuff. But my guess is she's coming at the end of February based off of the release schedules of all the characters that we've seen so far. So January will be the lead up to Mai. Like, here's the pre-match, and like you might be able to get all these costumes and stuff like that. And then it will be the actual Mai month. So, right, and the bangs and the hair color look definitely more like the old Mai's here. Oh, this is the Shinkiro art basically over here. Oh yeah, exactly. So like, this is the old Shinkiro art here. And see how like that actually kind of like matches a little bit more because it's the rounder face, right? It's definitely a distinct rounder face over here. So, but I'm really curious how she's gonna play and stuff, because like that's gonna be really interesting. But I'm sure we'll get a gameplay trailer for her next month or something like that, probably at the end of January, like around at the end of the Battle Pass time, because that seems to be it, right? You get the teaser trailer, a month later it's the you know, here's how they play, and then boom, next month you actually get the characters. So but I'm really curious to see how she's gonna play, and I'm also curious now because one of the things that someone pointed out to me on social media was that this means the DLC literally says you're getting 2 stages. We're getting 2 stages. And looking at this, it looks like Mai is getting her own stage, right? Like, clearly that's her Fatal Fury 2 stage, if I'm not mistaken, that she's fighting the ninjas on. So it looks like she's going to have her stage, which means Elena's not going to have a background, because we got Pow Pow Cafe, and now we're getting this stage. And if they're only getting 2 stages, that might mean we're only getting those 2 stages. So Elena's probably not getting one. Someone actually pointed out that during Nishal's quests, like at one point you talk to some guy who's like, I love animals. I've imported this hippopotamus from Africa, right? And like he has this hippopotamus with him. And then of course in the original season 2 trailer, you see Elena with a hippopotamus, right? And like apparently Nakayama tweeted like, yeah, the hippopotamus is gonna play a part in her storyline. So yeah, it sounds like her storyline is that she's in Nishal trying to rescue the hippopotamus, and so she's not gonna have her own background. So we're not getting an Africa stage, which is really a shame, honestly, because I think an Africa stage would have been super, super cool, you know, to have a new an African stage, you know, because I mean, like, we already got, like R.E.V.O stages in Japan, right? We already got Japan represented. Let's get an Africa stage, please. But, you know, yeah, exactly. Nishal is kind of like nebulous, right? Like Rashid kind of exists there, and now, you know, potentially Elena might just exist there. So you know, it's kind of sad. I mean, it would have made sense if you just gave Mai the Pow Pow Cafe stage again. Like, that's the Fatal Fury stage. But apparently, the guess is that Mai is getting this stage, and Elena will probably just be hanging out in Nishal instead. So, the reason why, because they actually say that. They literally say that. Let's see, did they say it here or no? But somewhere where they list what comes with the DLC, Season 2 Pass, they say 2 stages. They literally say 2 stages. So that's it, right? So maybe I mean, maybe Capcom will be like, surprise, third stage, but really doubtful. I mean, we still don't even have any news on Costume 4, right? So, like, I'm not holding my breath for an Africa stage here, so. Yeah, you could add a third stage and charge it like the Heihachi stage, right? But didn't they change it? So now a Heihachi stage is free or something like that? I can't remember now. But yeah, I mean, there you go. That's so the Mai trailer kind of came out of nowhere and really cool to see. I mean, it's funny because it's like the same thing as the Terry one. We're like, this is cool, but why does Terry's face look odd? And Mai's like, this is cool, but why does her face look kind of odd, right? Like, I mean, Terry's face look kind of weird. Mai's just doesn't look like Mai. I think that's kind of the complaint about hers. So, oh yeah, and by the way, a lot of the stuff that you can buy from the shop is on sale right now, but not for drive tickets. I thought it was also discounted for drive tickets, but it's only discounted for the fight coins. So if you are willing to spend money on like some of the music or some of the costumes or whatever like that, and you buy fight coins, everything is 20% off until January something, like early January. So you can actually get some stuff for a little 20% off fight coins right now. So this is all it says about it. Oh, it says, and the Steam page, I see nothing about stages. Oh God, where did it say something about stages? I know it said something somewhere. So, because someone linked it to me at one point in time, and so it was there. And whoops. Okay, that didn't work. Let's see. Did I spell Street Fighter wrong? Should be streetfighter.com, right? Streetfighter.com. Okay. Well, oh, the ultimate pass that includes 2 additional stages. There you go. That probably is exactly what it is. Yeah. Bum bum bum. I am trying to find some information, but I cannot find any information. Oh, I heard a cat meow. Okay, any case, yeah, that's Mai, but not to be outdone. Everybody else has been releasing all this new information as well. And SNK, they said that they were releasing 2 last characters who are coming out literally in 2 days, along with a new balance patch. And they've also released the patch notes. But of course, the 2 characters that are coming out are Vice and Mature. And they look really strong. They look really good, by the way. Like, their animations and the models are good. Like, you can almost kind of see their City of the Wolves experience now really shining through. But basically, we're not even sure if they're going to cost anything or if they're just going to be free. Like, do we actually know? Is there any news on that? But we'll find out on Thursday because they're coming out on Thursday. Oh, you're right. I did miss the talking point too. Whoops. Hang on. Let's do that then. Let's do that. Talking point 2. So yeah, the patch. Obviously, oops, not a hotfix coming soon. I should say a hotfix already released. And I totally missed that news somehow. But the new patch is out. And so far, I mean, I haven't seen anybody really complain about the patch. The only part of the patch that seems to have, any worry right now is Ed. Right? So if you guys have actually been looking at a lot of the discussion on social media, Ed seems to have maybe been over-nerfed. We're not sure yet because there are a lot of Ed players that are like, he's still good. It's just that now we have no Psycho Flicker mind game. Like, we're not allowed to charge the Psycho Flicker in somebody and like try to bait them into DIing us, because basically the Kill Rush back just has the hurt box of like of 10,000 ships, you know, like you backdash and you get hit like in the space in front of you and you die. So like anytime you see a Ed charge up the Psycho Flicker, if you just drive impact, there's basically nothing he can do. Like he's just gonna get hit by it, which kind of sucks, right? And obviously, you know, they added some hurt boxes to the Psycho Flicker, so while he's charging it, it's easy to hit. Even like right before it whips you, you can hit it ahead of time. And, you know, they nerfed his OD Blitz and stuff. And so when I looked at it, I didn't think it was going to be that bad, because when I was looking at the patch notes, because I didn't know how bad the Kill Rush back hurt box was going to be. It's bad. Like, it's bad, right? Like, he can't even get away from a lot of supers now either. So I was kind of hoping when they fixed the bug that they might have, like, split the difference and kind of try to put the hurt box in between original and new, you know, but they haven't done it. But again, like I said, some Ed players are saying like, yeah, it sucks. That part is like super nerfed. So like charge flicker is like good for meaty situations and stuff like that. But like, it's really, really hard to make work. Just like do fierce into, you know, charge up and play the mind game with the opponent, because that's the whole point. Even the tutorial's broken. Like the tutorial's like, yes, use Kill Rush back so that you can avoid attacks. And you see Ed backdash with Kill Rush back, and he gets hit by the drive impact anyway. So the tutorial is literally like wrong now. It's hilarious. Like, it's just like, oops. But yeah, so, but outside of that, like, it all seems to be good, except that there was a bug introduced. So, basically, some characters, I don't know the whole list. Like, I've heard JP Streebog is one of them. But if you perfect parry the first hit of Streebog, if it actually has, like, more hits, you can super cancel the later hits. The whole idea was that when you get perfect parried, is that you're not supposed to be able to cancel anything anymore. You're stuck, right? So if you perfect parry, for example, Chun-Li's head stomp, and she bounces off you, she can't do any moves on the way down, if I'm not mistaken. I remember testing this, because basically once you get perfect parried, you can't you can't do anything until you land, basically. But apparently you can still super cancel. Oh, okay, so Aki could do it with stabby hands, I see. So you could perfect parry the first hit, and then she could do stabby hands and then still cancel in the super. Gotcha. So yeah, so they wanted to eliminate that. And the accidental bug was that if you get perfect parried and then you get knocked down, you get a 1 frame window for reversal afterwards. So basically, you can't buffer your anything on your wake up anymore. Like, you can't wake up with anything anymore, and it's only the very first frame that you get up that you can press the button and it actually cause your special move to come out. So it turns into Super Turbo. It just turned into Super Turbo. You have a 1 frame window for reversals. And so it becomes really scary, because especially if you get knocked down, you could do meaty DI, and unless they DI on the perfect frame, they can't even block and they just die, right? And so what my guess was, is they were like, well, you know what? Just to make it safe, you know, so the way the damage reduction works on perfect parry is that as soon as the opponent gets perfect parried, they enter a 50% scaling until they reach a neutral state again. So it doesn't matter how long the move is or how many, like whatever they do, as soon as you perfect parry 1 hit of that move, they basically will only take 50% damage, and then obviously scaling from there every time you hit them until they reach a neutral state. So what I think they did to fix this bug, they were like, you know what? All right, how's this? Just as a safety, because in case we forgot something else, let's just make it, if you get perfect parried, your inputs do nothing until you reach a neutral state. So you can't input supers, you can't input anything. I think they just shut down your inputs until you reach a neutral state. Unfortunately, that means while you're getting up, that's not a neutral state, and you only reach a neutral state when you get up. And so they thought they fixed it just by, all right, just, you know what, let's just implement it this way. And I think they messed up, because then that means during that buffer window of when you're getting up, inputs don't count until you finally get up. And so they've reverted it. They haven't fixed it. It's not behaving the way that they intended to. So now the old bug where you could cancel Aki stabby hands, for example, is now still in the game, right? Like, that's still there now. They just removed the other bug because this is obviously better, right? Like, we would rather deal with that bug instead, because they probably haven't figured out a clever way or a more thorough way to make it work, right? This was probably like the quick fix that they could think of to stop it, and now they've got to do more to it. And, you know, the tricky part about it is, like, everyone's like, it doesn't sound hard, but, you know, you got to know the difference between, like, what type of move, states, all this stuff is. So by shutting off inputs, it was just an easy, universal way to fix it, but they just didn't take into account that it screwed up the reversals. And so they fixed it now. The hot fix went out 4 days ago, so we don't have that problem anymore. But as a result, it actually postponed a bunch of World Warriors. Hell, last Wednesday, I was supposed to actually, like a week ago, I was supposed to commentate the West Coast Finals, and it got postponed because of the bug that was found. So US, Canada, Midwest, and shout outs to, I think it was JNV who posted all this in here. US, Canada, Midwest, US, Canada, West, Brazil, Asia East, France/Monaco, Mexico, Middle East, Europe Northeast, Europe West, and Japan were all postponed. So we had to find another fix, and they had to get one out before the King of the World that's coming up this weekend. So they were like, so they just reverted this, find perforce, undo, change list kind of thing. Yeah, so now we're just in this state here. So everything in the previous patch is still there, except for the fix to the super cancel stuff, which is fine because that's something that we rarely saw in tournaments, right? I mean, obviously it can happen, and, you know, it's unintended behavior, but, you know, it's known. It's known, so you just have to keep that in mind. If it happens, it's still your fault because it's a knowledge thing that you should know about, So yeah, they have the bug fix out there, so we'll see what happens. Maybe with the Mai patch, they'll figure out a way to fix this issue correctly. But again, you know, like, a lot of people are like, oh, what's wrong? Dude, like, seriously though, like, bugs are hard, man. Like, dude, bugs are hard to find because, again, like, you make that change and you test everything and you just don't even, like, think about it, right? Like, who thinks about, like, oh, perfect parry, knock you down, and now you can't do reversal? Like, was that ever a test case anywhere? Like, if you had all these test cases for how to test perfect parry and make sure nothing's broken, I don't think knock down and test reversal is probably one of the test cases that they thought of. They'd better add it now. That better be a new test case, but, you know, oh, he was testing the one frame wake up and can get only 1 out of 20. So the reason why it's super hard also is because of something else that they did to the game that I personally don't like. But the reason why you could do it easier in Super Turbo is you would use the piano method, right? So it was a 1 frame window in Super Turbo, but a lot of people could do it consistently. And the way they would do it is they would piano the 3 buttons. So I'd uppercut and piano 3 buttons really fast. And so what that would end up doing is that since negative edge counts as a button press, you do press, 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 let go, let go, let go, or press, let go, press, let go, press, or whatever, a combination of all 6 inputs in a window. And as long as you can get it, like, to register, like, a bunch of frames in a row, that increased your chances of doing the special move. So a lot of people for Super Turbo players, they can reversal very consistently because they've gotten so good at pianoing. The problem is, in Street Fighter 6, they have the internal priority list. And when you input 2 things at the same time, it executes the one that's higher on the priority list. I don't know why. This is the first time they've ever done this, but OD moves, aka EX moves, have a higher priority than supers. So if I do quarter circle forward 2 punches, if I do quarter circle forward times 2 punches, you come out with an OD fireball instead of the super. because you've input the super and the OD fireball commands, and because OD fireball has a higher priority, it goes, you input this, okay, do the OD. And so what happens is if you piano, the whole point of piano is you could be sloppy. So a lot of times you would hit 2 buttons at once, let go of one, let go, push the other, whatever. But now if you piano and you happen to hit 2 buttons at the same time, you'll come out with the OD. Instead, the OD wins, right? As the reversal, basically. So you can't wake up with the super anymore, right? Well, I guess, you know what? If he's just testing reversal, it should come out, now that I think about it. I have to think about, like, how that works again. Like, because if he's just testing that, I mean, I don't know that, because then piano should work, because then it should just be the OD fireball that comes out, now that I think about it. Weird. Anyways, it's gone, so I can't test it myself anymore, so whatever. In any case, yeah, the bug is gone. The bug is gone, honestly, so, but in any case, like I said, it's fixed, so we're good. So that's a situation, that is a crisis that has been averted, and Capcom's like, oh crap, but they fixed it, so we're good. And now I could move on to the next section over here, because again, the patch is only a few days old, so the only thing that I've really asked about is the, well, okay, so everybody's talking about Ed, and then a lot of people are talking about Kimberly as well, right? Because a lot of people hated fighting Kimberly before, right? And, you know, a lot of times Kimberly beats you up because you don't know how to fight her. The fortunate thing is you just didn't run into any of them because she wasn't good, right? Like she was one of the weaker characters, so you just didn't see a lot of people playing Kimberly. But when you fought the people who knew how to use Kimberly, she was kind of annoying to fight. Now there's a lot more Kimberlys out there apparently, and so now people hate her even more because now she's good, right? She's actually strong, so a lot of people are complaining about Kimberly. My best advice I can give you, because, you know, I'm obviously very famous of, you know, complaining about how bad Kimberly is. Again, her mix-ups, a lot of her mix-ups aren't real. Take the time to study what her mix-ups are and figure out, like, the proper ways to fight a lot of the things that she does. It is much harder now because gaining the arc step back as a true frame trap off of stand medium punch and standing heavy punch is a big deal, because the problem with her before is she did not have a frame trap before. But now she actually has a frame trap, and so if you mash a 4-frame button after she cancels and she just chooses to run an arc step, she'll hit you, she can dive kick afterwards and knock you down. It's not really like, she's not gonna hurt you, it's like not a lot of damage, but it just means that now it's not a free mash on jab and blow her up kind of situation. She had frame traps before, but it was run and slide, and it was also medium vagabond edge, which is the elbow, and both of those were minus 12 on block. So, you know, you could try to go for one of those options to blow up people mashing, but if you were wrong, like, you died, right? Like, you literally died. So, do you think a lot of disgruntled Cammy mains might switch to Kim? No. Hell no. Because they're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to switch to Kim, and they're going to play Kim, and they'll be like, why doesn't any of her buttons hit anything? Why does she have no range? Like, you go from Cammy to Kim and you're gonna find out what Stubbs Button McGee is really all about over here. Because everyone's crying about Kimberly standing heavy punch, and that move is still really, really short range. So yeah, it's not, Cammy cannot switch to Kimberly. It is a completely different life. And Cammys are not ready for that life, man. Cammys are not ready for that life. And frankly, I don't even think Cammy's that badly nerfed. Anybody who's like, oh my God, Cammy's horrible now, like, so, okay, I get my OD dive kick. I can't side switch, but I can still combo into a drill, and we're no longer in the corner. You're fine. Okay, you don't get to switch the side, so they're in the corner, and you get free pressure all of a sudden. You get back to the middle of the screen, that's fine. Like, you're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everything else you have is still amazing, right? So, it's fine. It's fine. So, if anybody's a disgruntled Cammy out there, I personally don't think, like, the changes to Cammy are gonna hurt Punk's win rate at all. I don't know, has Punk talked about it on his stream yet? What he thinks? Like, I would imagine Punk's like, yeah, that sucks, but oh well, I'm still gonna win because I'm Punk, right? Like, I would imagine so. Oh man. So yeah, so I don't think it'll be a problem. So oh, you saw one, but you didn't watch it. Okay. Fair enough. What are we doing over here? All right. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, back to SNK. SNK, like I said, not to be outdone, is releasing the trailer. So, as I was saying, they were going to release a patch, and they're releasing Mature and Vice. We don't know if these characters are going to be free, if they're going to be charged, but, I mean, if it's free, they haven't mentioned a price. So, if they're going to be free, that's actually kind of sick, actually. It's going to be kind of nice and very kind of them. I mean, a lot of people were kind of upset because they were like, we don't have the motivation to keep trying to play for this SNK World Tour because, you know, King of Fighters 15 is no longer being worked on. So, like, we're not getting any changes. Like the support is gone. So we feel kind of a little frustrated with it, right? So, they said, fine, we'll add a couple of new characters. So there we go. And so here we go. They released Mature and Vice, and honestly, they look fantastic. They look really, really good. Again, from their City of the Wolves skills and experience, I'm sure, they probably, that's probably why they look really good. But let's check out this trailer here that they put out. So let's take a look at this. Oh, yes, you're right. You are correct. There we go. Okay, here we are.
Mature. Vice.
Just love how disrespectful Vice voice sounds.
やっぱり私たちが戦うっていうのはどうにも気乗りしないわね。そんなこと言ってどうせ自分の方が強いと思ってるんだろう。さあいらっしゃい。やろうか。それも楽しいね。ビビってんじゃないよ。
So in case you guys don't know in the storyline, so Mature and Vice are dead, right? They're dead in the storyline, and Iori is the one that killed them, so...
楽しみましょう。やが。
It was really smart adding these two characters because essentially they're both wearing the same thing. So they can get kind of two characters out of one model, right?
そんな顔するなよ、ヤガミ。
ヤガミ。
そんな可愛い顔されたら顔面を潰したくなっちゃうだろう。ぶっ飛べ。構わないね。怖いか。たまらないね。ぶっ飛べ。構わないね。
Yeah, Free Frack Man, I was going to talk about that in a second. By the way, shoutouts to the editor of this video. Like, this is sick right here. Here comes the climax. Oh, no, actually, never mind. Oh, that's why, because here comes the climax. That's really cool.
cannot hold these two beauties. Orochi is eternal. KOF
It's not
15.
guestless, Kazu, because Samurai Showdown characters count as guests.
また会おうか。
So yeah, coming out in 2 days. We are the 10th right now, so the 2 days coming out over here. So yeah, when Vice does the anti-air sleeve whip thing, that has only existed in CVS 1 and CVS 2. It's only existed in CVS 1 and CVS 2. So they actually took a CVS move and gave it to her in King of Fighters 15, which is absolutely fascinating. So, in case you don't know, Forrest, Vice and Mature work for Rugal. And so Rugal basically sent them to watch over Iori. And that's why Iori had Vice and Mature on his team in one of the KOFs. If I have this correct, at the end of that game, Iori gets taken over by the Orochi blood, which causes him to go insane. And he murders Vice and Mature. So, which is why they have never been in any games except for dream matches ever again. So they only showed up in 98 and 2002 because those are the dream matches. And then 13, like, they're in it, but like, what? And like, even in 14, when they show up in 14, Xanadu is like the only character, like he actually kind of like says something like, aren't you guys supposed to be dead? Or something like that. So yeah. Oh man. So, oh wait, I mean, they can't be canon to this crossover because the Samurai Showdown characters lived like in the 1700s or so, well, not 1700, like the 1800s or something like that, right? Whenever Andrew Jackson was president, because that's why Andrew Jackson is literally a character in one of the Samurai Showdown games, I think Samurai Showdown 6. So yeah, I don't know what their storyline is, why they're back, because even in one of the stories that came out before King of Fighters 15, the characters were like Vice and Mature, even though Verse being killed brought back a lot of people to life. In one of the stories leading up to the game, Vice and Mature are talking about the fact that they're still ghosts and they're haunting Iori. So I don't know how they're gonna explain that because they weren't brought back when Verse died, right? Like Dolores and like CYS were. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll actually find out what's going on there. So yeah. But yeah, Samurai Shodown takes place a long time ago. That's why Gen-on Shiranui, that's his full name, Gen-on Shiranui, is like, people are like, is he Mai Shiranui's ancestor? And like, I don't know if that's actually confirmed or if that's just like one of those things that, you know, people like to put as their headcanon. But yeah, all the Samurai Shodown games take place a long, long time ago. So they can't be canon to the story here unless there's a time warp, unless Verse created a time warp and somehow they showed up from ancient times or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, oh, I see. You were shocked about the fact that Andrew Jackson is in Samurai Showdown. Yeah, apparently he's in Samurai Showdown 6 because I think he's the president of the United States during the time period that Samurai Showdown takes place. So they just threw him in there, funny enough. So, but then also they released the character breakdowns of Vice and Mature. And holy crap, they look really good. They look really, really strong. So let's actually see here. Oh God, there's like 19 languages for this. Oh, here we go. This is the English one here. So here comes the Mature breakdown over here. I don't know if you want me to go into details. I mean, we'll probably do that tomorrow on Synchronize a little bit more. We'll probably go into a little bit more details about these characters, but they look really strong. They look really, really strong. But they do mention that, like, for example, Mature, as strong as he looks, that her defense is really, really bad. So, but yeah, she looks really good. Right, no DP, that's what they actually say. Like, her defense is gonna be really, really bad, so. Oh, that's right. Doesn't Genon's Samurai Shodown 1 ending like reference Mai or something like that? I can't remember now. Yeah, so this is her Rekka attack right over here. And she's got one that you can just end in 2 and be safe. That's the light version. The heavy version gets 2 follow-ups. And it's not safe on block, but obviously it lasts more damage. And then with most of their moves here, they kind of have this thing where it's like the light version is, you know, comboable off of lights, but like not as safe. But the heavy one leaves the launches. And the EX one is always like, hey, it combos off of lights and does the heavy cool stuff. But yeah, this actually is a new special move that she got, which is the launch right here. So the light one launches like that, and you can get that, but the heavy one is a little slower, but less safe on block, but you get better combos off of that one. It's a higher launch like this, so you can get like cooler stuff on this. Right, see like that. That wouldn't connect after the light one, but it connects after the heavy one. So there you go, and again, the EX is like the mix between the two. Combos off of light, but gives you the heavy launch. Yeah, she has this thing, and then you press the button to follow up attack afterwards. So you can also just leap and do nothing, basically. This one can cross up, the heavy one can cross up. Let me also do one more thing over here, I think. Do I have it? Oh yeah, I do, okay, there we go. But yeah, so she's going to be really kind of rough in terms of just... I mean, that fireball is so good, dude. So, I mean, she looks like she's going to be really strong. It seems like if you really like kind of a rush-down pressure character, she's going to be kind of the one to use because that running move right there, the heavy one, leaves you plus on block. So there, yeah, that version, the EX version, hits once and crosses up on hit. So if you want to side switch, but puts them into a crumple, which launches them even higher. So, well, historically they've been mid-tier, but in KOF 13, when the game first came out, she had the infinite, right? Like she had the infinite as long as she was in max mode or whatever that, not max mode was, whatever the mechanic was in 13. I think she had like an infinite, and so like Mature was like super broken at first, and then they nerfed her basically. And she can cancel, she can feint her fireball, dude. That's so messed up. So while this fireball's super scary, she can actually cancel. Oh, there was a whiff cancel on a button right there. Yeah, she's going to be scary for the people that got all the rush downs going. But they say here that she doesn't have any meterless counterattack options. So she is going to have a lot of trouble on defense. So she's basically just a super offensive character. So there you go. So that is Mature. And then Vice. Let's get to Vice over here. English breakdown here. So Vice is the grappler. So clearly Mature is the attacky, clawy, rushdown character. And Vice is the grappler. And I mean, she looks kind of cool. She looks kind of like, if I was going to play one of these two, I kind of would have to go with Vice just because she's the grappler. I mean, she's got invulnerability on the heavy version of her grappler. So she doesn't have like long range. It's those moves right there, the sleeves that are the long range moves that she has. So that's where her range comes from, on the sleeves, on that like little sleeve attack basically. Wow, that's really good. Yeah, I think this move is like plus on block or something like that. Yeah, that close D, the close heavy kick is plus on block. Jesus. So this is her shoulder rush here that you can chain into that air throw. Ugh. And then the coolest thing about it is she has an air throw super that you can chain into off of that throw. Such a cool looking move. She was one of my mains in CVS 1 because I was one of those jerks who played the 4:1 characters. Basically, I played her and anybody else who had the ability to counter Blanca's Blanca Ball, and Vice was one of them. So you always kind of, in CVS 1, you kind of always had to have a character that could counter Blanca's Blanca Ball. So like everybody that I put on my team had the ability to counter it in some way, if I remember correctly. Poor Antonov. Why are you beating on Antonov? Oh God, juggle anywhere. Yeah, so this move is purely a CVS move. CVS 1 and CVS 2, they gave her this move, and apparently she's never had it before. So they actually took a move from the Capcom vs. SNK series and just gave it to her, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how the hurt boxes work. We'll find out in a couple of days, honestly. Oh yeah, Antonov, dude, yeah, he's kind of a, like personality-wise, he's a really funny guy. He's not particularly high tier, I don't think, but he's kind of cool. Did Mark of the Millennium, or 2001, you're saying she had that sleeve move or no? Or are you just naming it for some reason? Jesus. Yeah, see, look at this. The heavy one has slow startup, but it's got invincibility. Like that, see? Yo. Oh my God. Yeah, she looks frightening, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, this leaping grab here that you can cancel into, but you can also super cancel into her air throw too. She has an air throw super. It's invulnerable to projectiles. Yeah, so there's her air throw. She just slams you to the ground, but whee! Like, that's fun. That's just fun. Oh, it's juggle anywhere? Dude, that air super is juggle anywhere? Holy crap, okay. I mean, honestly, I think that's really cool of SNK to, like, throw in this little CVS, callback like that. I'm sure everybody's gonna be like, that means we're getting CVS 3! Like, stop it. Just stop, okay? If we get a CVS 3, it's not coming for, like, another, 2 or 3 years, okay, guys? Like, just be patient, okay? I'm not saying it'll never come out, but I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. But along with this, they actually released... Yeah, exactly, Chubby Pickles. We've got a while to wait. But along with this, they did release the patch notes. And we'll go over the patch notes in a lot more detail on Synchronize tomorroor. So make sure you tune in. We might even have some special guests on the show tomorrow. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's Vice and Mature. And the patch, like I said, the patch notes are out already. And again, kind of like the Street Fighter 6 patch notes, it seems actually really well done. It seems like all the characters that are considered the best right now didn't really get any buffs. Like, they got some makeup buffs to make up for some of the things that got nerfed. There are some characters that are like, wait, you buffed this character? What? Like, that for sure. But like I said, we'll go through some more details about that tomorrow, when I have some more KOF knowledge people on the stream with me, aka Olaf. So, but yeah, so it's all coming out December 12th. And again, this is like a big patch too. Like, every character got touched. And so hopefully it brings a lot of new life back into the game. and gets everybody excited again. So by the time we get to the SNK World Tour, we'll be able to see some cool new stuff. So yeah, so we should have synchronized tomorrow. It's all planned. So Olaf already has kind of lining up some special guests and stuff like that who should be able to show up tomorrow on the stream. And if the patch comes out while we're streaming, maybe we'll update it and mess with it, but we'll see what happens. So, all right, no problem, Mage Nichols. Thank you for stopping by. But of course, not to be outdone by SNK and by Capcom. We also got some news from Tekken World Tour. So the Tekken World Tour finals were this past weekend. So, culminating into the end of the very, very first year for Tekken 8. And, a lot of people were talking about, obviously, Arslan Ash, Atif, but, all these players out here. But Tekken World Tour was won by Rangchu, right? Or Rangchu, as we call him, with the bear. with Kuma, right? And so my joke, like Tekken 7, everybody was complaining the whole entire time about character domination. And in Tekken 8, they still all got dominated by Akuma. So yeah, obviously the bear's name is Akuma. Oh, well, his name is Kuma, so they all got dominated by Akuma. Anyway, so, sorry about that. Okay. Sorry, I'll move on now. But yeah, so obviously, a lot of people are talking about how strong Kuma is. So with Rangchu winning, I think we can officially call that first year event an Ursa Major, right? Yes, okay, anyways, I've made that joke before, and so that's an old one, so, but there you go. But yeah, look, Rangchu won when the Bears weren't good, right? And so now winning when Kuma is actually really strong, like, like a lot of people are like, okay. But it was really cool, really happy for Rangchu, because I remember when he won the first time, a lot of people were like, what the hell? Like, how did he win with the Bears? Like, this is a fluke kind of thing. But, it's cool to see Rangchu win. And, a lot of people have been talking about Atif Butt and how good he did. And, he got second place, but, like, he has been super consistent. I think between EVO Japan, EVO, and this tournament here, he hasn't finished lower than second place or something like that. Yeah, even Harada was like, Panda, really? When he won, right? So, like, the first time. But, yeah, I don't think Atif has actually finished lower than second place in the last three biggest tournaments, EVO Japan, EVO, and this event here. So, super consistent, or at least hasn't finished under top 3 or something like that. Super consistent, amazing play. The craziest part to me, though, was when I was looking at the results of the top 8, at least. There were like 3 Korean players. I think there were 3 Pakistan players. I think there was 1 person from like Kuwait or somewhere like that. And then 1 American. So Shadow 20Z made it into top 8, but there were no Japanese players. Oh, Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Saudi Arabia got there, but there was not a single Japanese player in there, and only 1 US player, which is wild, right? It's just like crazy, dude. Oh, Rafe, but he lives somewhere else now, right? He doesn't live in Saudi Arabia right now. If I'm not mistaken, is he the one that lives in Japan, or he moved somewhere else? I'm not sure. Okay. But yeah, so very interesting results to me to see that, like, not a single Japanese player made it up there. We always have our token 1 American who, like, makes top 8s. And so we got that, but, like, not a single Japanese player really surprised me, but really kind of shows the shift of like the power levels of the players, I guess. I'm not sure. I probably have to talk to someone like R.E.V.O or something like that to really get an idea of just exactly what's going on in that situation. But in any case, they also showed a trailer for Season 2, which is interesting because we still don't know who the last character is for Season 1. But they clearly teased in this trailer that the Season 1 character will be revealed this weekend at the Game Awards. So we will find out who the last character is. But yeah, new TWT, and then they showed a little bit of a trailer here. So let's go ahead and watch this trailer for Season 2. Yeah, more customization items, and they said every character's getting a new move. So new features for photo move, more evolved, so it looks like you can play moves frame by frame, give them battle damage, change their fingers, their expressions. You can look for players now. So I guess they're doing more for the fight pass over here. Customization, more items, looks like. More slots to create more customized characters. And you can actually put your customized characters on the main menu now. That's amazing. And basically they're like, that's a good idea, Street Fighter. So now they actually have fan art. So like, I guess they had something that actually, like, they picked certain fan art and they actually threw them into the game. But more cool premium fight pass items. Hope so, Lurker Spine. But Season 2, here we go. System and major balance. So you know a lot of people are excited to see if they can tweak heat a little bit more, because a lot of people are really frustrated with how heat works in this game. So I'd be curious to see if they try to nerf that in any way. But then we also got Anna Williams showing up. A new Tekken World Tour. Yeah, I mean, I hope they got paid or something. I don't know if the Capcom ones even got paid, right? And so, yep, again, they're announcing at the Game Awards, and it looks like they're telling us the exact times that they're going to show up, I guess. I don't know, or how that works, but, you know, they're listing these times, so I don't know if that's like, this is the time expect to see our reveals, or if that's just the time of the Game Awards. So, I'm not sure. But yeah, interestingly enough, you know, that's obviously the character that's supposed to show up for Season 2. So they showed up. They showed Anna. They gave us a preview of one of the first DLC characters for Season 2, which is Anna Williams, right? Nina's sister. So they just kind of gave us a little preview of that. And we still have the fourth character for Season 1 to be announced at the Game Awards. So we literally know one of the characters in Season 2 before we know the last character in Season 1. So it's just kind of weird. So yeah, well, everybody kind of remembers Anna Williams' win pose, right? I mean, come on. Oh, man. So yeah, more stuff for Tekken, more stuff to look forward to in Tekken, and yeah, the main thing really comes down to me is like, what are they gonna do with the heat system, right? Because you remember in Street Fighter, everybody was like, okay, season 2's coming, they'd better change the drive system, because neutral skipping, and they didn't really do anything at all to the drive rushes, and everyone's like, what happened? And then this patch comes out, and they're like, it's not gonna be a major update, and it's like every character is like changed all over the place, and so now I'm thinking that season 3 is gonna be a big shakeup. But but I don't know. Like I don't know if they're actually gonna do anything crazy with the drive system. But here, like obviously, a lot of people remember a few weeks ago I did the current fighting game hate episode because a lot of people are mad at their current game, including Tekken players. Like there was just one point in time where everybody on everybody on social media was just like mad. They were just like, I hate the heat system. It's just like knockdown into a 50-50, and if you're wrong, you're dead. Like that's it. Cause like before, I mean like this, like some of the heat things that you can set up, I mean, they are designed just to force a mix up, right? Like it's literally, you're stuck in a block stun, and now you have to guess high or low for like a giant chunk of your life, right? So a lot of people have been complaining about that, and I'm wondering if they have any intention to nerf that, right? Like is their goal to actually kind of tweak the heat system, or are they going to pull a Capcom season 2 and just be like, enjoy another year of this heat system, aggression, you know, kind of thing like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested, but they did say system changes, right? So they announced system changes, and I feel like if you're gonna put in your season 2 trailer, system changes coming, and you don't tweak the heat system, I feel like you might make a lot of people mad. So I'm wondering if that will happen, right? So I'm wondering if they'll actually do that. So we'll see what happens, but again, that's cool, which means obviously more Tekken stuff coming along the way, and you know, I really do hope that they, you know, tweak the system, because I don't, it frustrates me to see people mad at the current game, right? Like I'm sad. Like I'm not like, you're wrong, it's a good game. Like I'm not, like everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and yeah, I'm like totally get it, right? Like if you're a Tekken pure diehard, like you don't like this crazy weird offensive mechanic that gives you free mix-ups that feel kind of unearned or whatever like that, right? Like, so I get it, right? You know, but you know, people were complaining about Tekken 7 that the game was just you know, back and forth. Like it wasn't like a face-to-face fighting game like old Tekkens are, and you know, at least the heat system kind of brings back the face-to-face battle system a little bit more, right? Tekken 7 was definitely more of a careful zoning-ish kind of game where you like tried something, and if it failed, you got out, you know, kind of a thing. So, you know, I'm curious to see what they decide to do with this, but I would love it if they could get to a point where the fans are super happy. Now, the problem with fans is a lot of times all they want is just the last game, right? Like everybody's always going to talk about the last game as the best game ever, right? We even see that with a lot of people are like, you know, Street Fighter V in the last year, that's what we're looking for, because it's all neutral and footsies and stuff, you know, and it's like, everybody wants whatever was the last one. And again, you know, the one thing that I do like to talk about is, embrace change, right? Embrace the change of the games, right? Honestly, I think that's important. You know, and what's the point of making new versions of the game if you're just making the old game again, right? Like, why not just reskin the old game with better looking graphics and then just, whee, here we go, you know, kind of thing. So I like it when they change things, but of course, that's my background. I come from Street Fighter, I come from Darkstalkers, right? And like, these games have been notorious for massive changes in between Alpha, CVS, like these games they change, like they become a completely different thing. And so, you know, obviously my background in fighting games is a little more, you know, tolerant and expecting these kind of changes. And so I would really like it to see, you know, the players be happy I mean, we didn't really get to see that happen with the transition between Tekken Tag 1 and Tekken 7 because Tekken 7 took like 1,000 years to come out. Here's this arcade version. Here's this other version. Here's another version. We've added this, an arcade version. Here we go. Okay, like 3 years later, here's finally the home version. Dude, it took a while for it to come out, and it was just like this kind of slow burn, and a lot of people didn't even have access to the game at first, so, you know. And yeah, exactly, Forrest, we can always play the old versions, and that's why, again, for me, what Arxis has done, you know, creating Exerd with a good rollback netcode is amazing. Like, I never would have thought any company would do that. Like, here's our new game, but if you really like our old game, we're gonna make it better to play as well. And you're just like, what? What? You know, like, they're you know, I mean, they're probably adopting the mindset of, you look, we know the people who hate Strive right now and love Exerd, they're not going to buy Strive, or they've already bought it and they're not going to play it anymore. So we're not hurting our own sales by updating Exerd with new netcode. So screw it, here. We're going to support that, and I think that's great, right? I think that's wonderful. Welcome to Sad Geef and all of his viewers here. Thank you for the raid. But also, you know, like, I mean, that's why I've been arguing for an Ultra Street Fighter 4 with rollback netcode. Let's get Ultra Street Fighter. Let's get an updated Street Fighter 4 with rollback netcode. Like, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, that's right. I wanted to mention during the Street Fighter 6 patch update thing, somebody has suggested Capcom to do a public beta environment, right? So, like a lot of, I guess a lot of the esports games out there do that, right? So, when they have a new patch coming out, they roll it out into a public beta environment that's, you know, its own thing that people can sign up for and test stuff to find bugs early, or maybe to be like, this Ed thing is a little bit too much. And then when the patch officially comes out, they can fix things a little bit here and there. And, you know, it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting idea. Of course, it's a very Western idea. I don't see this as something that, like, Eastern devs would think about right now. But it is an interesting idea, and might be worth it for not just Street Fighter, but for a lot of these fighting games to kind of do something like that. So, okay. Flashy Flash says most PBEs just push the changes anyways and don't listen to players. Well, at least they would have found, for example, the reversal bug, right? And that's something that they would fix before they pushed out, right? So that's something right there. That's something. Oh, man. What's up, Sad Geef? What is up, Sad Geef? So that's the Tekken stuff, but not to be outdone by Bandai Namco and SNK and Capcom. We also got another announcement a little over a week ago. We got another announcement here, interestingly enough, from Sega. Remember a few weeks ago, we were like, oh my God, they accidentally leaked Virtua Fighter 6. So here's some new information on a new version of Virtua Fighter 5. A new version of Virtua Fighter 5. Let's take a look, shall we? Oh, you know the singer, huh? Okay. Oh, this is the same Daytona guy? Yo! I didn't know this was the Daytona guy. He's also the voice of Kage? Whoa! This is all new information to me. Well, so remember, this is an old Virtua Fighter. but with updated graphics, Sad Geef. So what happened was they released that Virtua Fighter esports game recently with updated graphics, and now this is another update to that. So Virtua Fighter has gotten 2 recent updates, and the graphics were updated on the previous one. Oh, this is also the first Steam port. Okay. Now wait, I could have swore didn't they officially announce this in the or was it only on the Twitter post that they announced that the game is gonna have rollback netcode? We've got the original Sega, the original Virtua Fighter 5 Esports Edition, they came out and they were going to absorb the netcode. Do you remember? They said they were going to absorb the netcode, and we're like excited, and it was still delay-based netcode, and it wasn't very good. So what they tried to do with that game, to my understanding, was they tried to leverage all of their their Phantasy Star Online servers, and kind of like, I don't know if it was like a host machine or something. I don't know exactly how it worked, but it was still delay-based netcode and wasn't very good, right? And so now it was officially announced that this version is getting rollback netcode. And what's exciting about that is that, I mean, if this has real rollback netcode, like, I mean, you've seen how rollback netcode has revived a lot of franchises. And not only that, but it also tells Harada that you can't make the excuse anymore that rollback doesn't work for 3D fighting games anymore, right? Like, if they figure out how to actually do this in true rollback, like, now the pressure is on the Tekken, honestly. The pressure is on the Tekken now, because, like, we've kind of all accepted the fact that Tekken has half rollback, you know, kind of thing. So, roll forward netcode? Oh, you want the game to predict for you. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see here. Features. Yeah, the Ultimate Edition of this legendary game. Rollback netcode support. Gorgeous 4K visuals with updated high-res textures and more. I don't know if these high-res textures are coming just straight from the previous version of VF. So again, who was it that was in the confused about all these updates over here? Sad Geef. So basically VF5, old game. I think it ended with Virtua Fighter 5 Evolution. Was that the last one? There was a version that came out a long time ago in the arcades back in the day. VF5, one of the versions, and then just no updates for years and years and years and years and years. Until the most recent Virtua Fighter esports version, I forgot what it was called. Oh, Final Showdown was the last one. Okay, so Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown came out, which apparently wasn't the Final Showdown, because then we got the esports edition of Virtua Fighter, which absorbed the netcode, that came out like a year ago or so. And then they released this one. So this is obviously the first time that it's going to be on Steam. And this is also, rollback netcode. So this is great, right? I mean, again, like, what the hope is, right? Obviously, we got that leak accidentally that they're working on a Virtua Fighter 6, right? So, from a long time ago, the one that we did with Gerald, right? Super Famicom, the Virtua Fighter we did with Gerald, I think it was. Oh, the latest version was Ultimate Showdown. Okay, so Ultimate is later than Final. I see how it is. Was it early 2021? Gee. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, what the hope here is that what we're getting here is like almost kind of like a beta test of rollback netcode on Virtua Fighter that should work for Virtua Fighter 6, right? So, right? Because if that, I mean, like I said, they accidentally leaked Virtua Fighter 6 in that article. So hopefully what that means is that this is kind of them, like, let's release this version. Let's also put it out on Steam so we get used to how the Steam process works and all this stuff like that. And then when Virtua Fighter 6 comes out, it can iron out all the bugs of rollback netcode, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get any news on Virtua Fighter 6 at the Game Awards. Who knows? We'll probably get some City of the Wolves stuff over there. I know Olaf feels like that it's like almost guaranteed that we're going to get some information at the Game Awards. But yeah, so Virtua Fighter 5 R.E.V.O. R.E.V.O. edition. So we've got R.E.V.O. I mean, Japan likes the word R.E.V.O., don't they? Because like, you know, ArcSys had the R.E.V.O. events, and now we got Virtua Fighter 5 R.E.V.O. over here. Did they say what R.E.V.O. stands for? Have they ever said what R.E.V.? Because it's R.E.V.O. right? So was it like Rollback Edition Virtually Online or something? I don't know. Rollback Edition Virtua Online. That's what we're gonna call it. So. I mean, it could be short for Revolution, but like I said, Fansdome, like, look, if we look here, like, it's dots. It's all dots, right? It's like Fong and Aki, except we don't know what it stands for, right? So, oh, man. Right? And then there's the R.E.V. system in City of the Wolves, right? So Virtua Fighter 6 has to come up with some new crazy thing, right? Because in Street Fighter, it's drive impact, drive gauge, drive this, drive rush, drive blah, 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 right? And so like in City of the Wolves, it's rev this, rev that. We've got rev counters, we've got rev extend, right? And then Tekken is heat extend, heat burst, heat engager, right? So Virtua Fighter is gonna have to come up with something like that, right? They need to come up with like the cool this, right? Like, so we attack you with the cool punch, the cool maneuver, you know, so to go the opposite of heat, right? So there you go. So it's the heat opposite of heat mechanic. They're gonna have the cool mechanic. That's what they're gonna have. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Petty, like I kind of hope that way too. In fact, so Petty says, you know, I love that Virtua Fighter is still just 3 buttons, a timer, and a health bar. I hope they don't complicate things in VF. You know, I do hope they complicate things from a viewer standpoint where we actually get, like, information, like, you should have broke the throw this way, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, I feel like one of the important things here is, like there's got to be a hook for the game, right? And you know, like, it's got to be very much more viewer friendly and stuff like that. And I've talked about this in an old episode about what I think Virtua Fighter 6, at the time, I was like, if it ever comes out, what they should do. I would actually really like to see them lean more heavily into the realism, right? Because I know, like, when I watch Lei Fei, like, do stuff, like, do some of his crazy throws, or where you see some of those, like, crazy counter throws and stuff, and when you see, like, the really realistic animations, like, it's cool looking, right? So I almost feel like Virtua Fighter needs to lean into that. Like, actually, like, try to make it look as, like, ridiculously real as possible. Like, we're just watching a martial arts movie, you know, that we're controlling. Like, if they could figure out a way to do that, you know, like, really try to make it like a martial arts film. Like, lean into some, like, even like some classic Shaw Brothers kind of like vibe or something like that. If they could kind of go the opposite way and try to just make it look as realistic as possible while still having this very fluid motion and stuff like that, that could have a lot of appeal in its own way, right? In its own direction, and it's doing something different. Because right now, one of the things about fighting games is that, you know, it's very fantastical, right? Like, you watch Guilty Gear and people are throwing bombs and, like, there's meteors attacking you, and then this person has a crow, and another person's attacking you with a shotgun for some reason, and then this other person, like, you know, like, you're just, what is happening here? But if, like, we actually just leaned into, like, the exact opposite direction and made it just look as realistic possible, and, you know, that was the whole point of Virtua Fighter. Even as blocky as the original Virtua Fighter looked, the whole point is that it was real animations. Like you got like it was motion capture kind of thing. Like it was one of the first fighting games ever that like the animations and the martial arts attacks look like martial arts attacks, even though you gave people like 10-foot jumps and stuff like that. But you know, the point about it was that it was supposed to look very realistic. And so and Virtua Fighter has felt that way since then, right? Like even though obviously, you know, technology is going to limit it and whatever like that. But nowadays, like since we've had Virtua Fighter 5, the technology has kind of reached a point of ridiculousness where like things just look realistic now, right? Like, I mean, we're actually reaching an endpoint of like how much better can the next console actually look, right? Like how much can the next like by the time we get to PlayStation 6, is it really going to look any better? Like, can we actually make it look any better? Probably not, right? Wait, what's going on here? Yu Suzuki is going to China to insist a Baji-Con or Baji-Chen master hit him for realsies to get an idea for the damage Akira should do. Ooh, dang. Oh, man, that's crazy. They need a surprise popular guest character that no one would expect. I'm thinking Waluigi. Wow, Waluigi. No, I don't think he would work. I don't think he would work very well. Right, tech efficiency, tech streamlining. Yeah, for sure they're going to have to go other directions. They can't rely on graphics anymore because, yes, does PlayStation 5 look better than 4? Yeah. Does it look better enough that I'm like, whoa, no. Like, not at all. Like, the only way it looks better is if you zoom in all the way and you're like, I can see the fibers on his hoodie. You know, like, like at that point, it's like, yeah, I mean, we've really hit the point of diminishing returns. So, right. So, like, I don't think that that's the way it's going to go. So I feel like this is the right time to really try to push VF to look as goddamn realistic as possible, right? Like have some, like just, I mean, because the game is also so, like, I don't want to call it like plain, but like because it's so minimalist, right? It is just like, here's the life bars, here's the guys fighting. Like I feel like you can actually go really ham with like the clothing physics, with like body physics and stuff like that, and you can really do some really interesting things to try to push, like have as much environmental stuff that's happening, like stuff to break that's not necessarily like, oh, we're going to have you interact with the environment, because they did that with Virtua Fighter 3, and, you know, Tekken 4 did that, and as we've learned, that doesn't necessarily work that well, you know. DOA obviously does it their own way, but, like, DOA is supposed to be completely just like, whoa, dinosaur, right, kind of thing. So, like, Virtua Fighter could, like, you know, have the pots on the ground, or like when they run through the grass, you'll actually see the blades of grass like flying up or something like that. Or if someone gets knocked down and hits the grass, they can flatten the grass a little bit more permanently or something like if they actually just like try to make this game look as stupidly realistic as possible, I think that would be really, really cool, honestly. I don't have one here. Okay. In any case, yeah, it is very hard to have realistic look and realistic motion, and you can't have the motion be too realistic because, you know, I've heard like there was one fighting game that I talked to one of the devs about where like they tried to give the character like amazing animation, which meant that the move had like 70 frames of startup. And you're just like, you can't do that. Like, you have, like, this move is going to be useless. It's beautifully animated, but it's going to be completely useless, right? Like, so, like, yeah, it's a tough kind of situation. So, but yeah, like, if you could make it, yeah, like a Kung Fu movie, right? Like, that's the thing. Kung Fu movies are even kind of exaggerated. Like, even if you took a Jackie Chan kind of film, right? Because, like, even Jackie Chan uses wires to exaggerate movement, right? Like, when you kick out of their feet, right? Like, you can't make them so that they get like yanked backwards a little bit. So, you know, Jackie Chan will even put like ropes on their feet. So when they get kicked, they'll pull the feet to kind of add that exaggerated motion. If they do that, right? Like, so I don't mean like the whole game has to be realistic. Like if Sarah Bryant's going to have a move where she jumps over you, like let her have a move that jumps over you, but like, just like, you know, put some weight into the characters and all this stuff. Like, I think it would be really, really cool. So that's kind of how I feel like the game should lean, you know, to make it appealing to modern audiences. And I think that's a really good way to do that, honestly. So, but yeah, so there you go. We got more information about Virtua Fighter. So, just all sorts of information this week, which is really cool. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to complain, let's put it that way. So, I think everybody is really happy to be able to see all this information about fighting games. I think a new character was even revealed for 2XKO, but we don't know anything about it. I think they just showed a picture of him, and that was it. But yeah, so, I mean, yes, watch First Attack, but I'm sad because I haven't made a new First Attack in a long time. But there is a First Attack episode with our guest, Gerald Abraham, a.k.a. L.A. Akira, who is doing a lot, who was helping us with the Virtua Fighter episode. So you guys can check that out. I mean, we will maybe have a lot of news. I don't know, because the problem is, like, this is the Game Awards, and like every time I watch the Game Awards and there's new stuff, like I every year after the Game Awards, I have to write my "I'm disappointed in video games" tweet. I have to do it because every time I see, so again, Game Awards drinking game, right? Like, every time you see a new trailer, take a drink every time you hear a British accent. That's what I always say. That's what I say. So, like, as soon as you hear a British accent, take a drink. That's it. Because every trailer has one. It's either the wise, you know, guy who's going to help you. Well, then, I will teach you how to deal with the enemy. Or it's going to be the narrator. Long ago, in a land where we had to deal with magic and power. Or it's going to be the villain. Well, now, I see you have breached my stronghold, but you will not get any farther. You know, like, it's like every freaking game, story, British accent, story, British accent. And I'm just like, come on, like, can we have, like, interesting gameplay, weird mechanic, really creativeness? No, it's, here's the story, and here's British accent. Like, I'm so sick of it, dude. Like, I am so tired of it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Can we just have video games again? There's a place for story games, but the Game Awards, that's all they do. Like, every video game is like, here's the story, and here's our montage of indie games. Indie game, indie game, indie game, indie game, indie game, done, right? Like, it's just like, come on, those are like the only interesting looking things, dude. Come on. Ugh. Anyways. Yeah, we'll see, because we'll probably get like 3 bits of fighting game news, and then the game that wins the fighting game of the year is going to be like, here are some games that won awards off screen, well, because we don't care about them, and we don't make any money announcing these things, and they don't make any money, so we don't care. The winner of the fighting game year, you know, game of the year is going to be, and it's just like, right? I mean, like, seriously, like, I'm gonna hate watch the Game Awards again. I'm just gonna end up hate watching it. Ugh. But, you know, we've got a lot of cool fighting game news here, and yeah, I mean, I really, really hope that, like, at least Tekken or Grand Blue wins, because if Multiverses wins again, like, how do you even nominate it again, right? Like, the way that they've kind of implied is that you can't nominate a game that you've already nominated before, right? So Multiverses won, and then they were like, just kidding, it was a beta. They pulled it away, and they re-released it and made it worse. And, like, if it wins again, like, I will kick my door down. I swear to God, I will, so... Oh, God, make a video game parody? Dude, like, there was one time me and my friend just started making up names of Japanese fighting games with the craziest subtitles because they just love, like, the most ridiculous subtitles in the world. And there was one that I came up with just, like, the greatest thing. I can't remember what it is anymore, but yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's so hard for me to appreciate video games these days. I know I'm old, and I know I'm, you know, crotchety and yelling at clouds and shit, but, oh, man, I tell you, like, I mean, before we used to look forward to games because they're like, like this game, you kill monsters with a pump, and you're just like, this is so cool, right? Like Nintendo games, going back to old school stuff like we did before this, before the show actually started. Like, here's a game where you swing around on a bionic arm. You're like, this is so cool, like seriously, like some of these old games, just like you just came up with this concept and you made a great game out of it. And it's just like, I feel like now we make games to serve the story instead of a story to serve the game is kind of how I've mentioned it before. Like Celeste is a game where the story serves the game, and yet the story is fantastic, right? Like it's amazing, but like they were designing the game first and the story later. But a lot of the games these days it's like, okay, plot, epic plot, and then you have freaking Uncharted 1 and 2. Which, again, I'm sorry to you Uncharted fans out there, but the fighting in Uncharted 1 and 2 were the most uninspired gameplay that I have ever played, like, in the last 3 decades. Like, seriously, it was bad. Like, you sit there and you fight, they throw grenades, and you run to another place. And then you had this cool weapon that killed them, and then the next battle, these bad guys become immune to one of your favorite attacks. And you get to the next section, and now the bad guys are immune to 2 of your favorite attacks. And you get to the next section, and now they're immune to 3 of your favorite attacks. And it's just like, you're not changing the gameplay. Like, nothing is happening. Like, literally, the fighting in Uncharted was, like, seriously the most tacked on, uncreative, like, not thought out, not refined, not polished fighting I've ever done. You're just running around in circles like, oh, let me hide behind here, grenade. Well, that's their mechanical way to prevent you from hiding in one spot forever, is they throw a grenade. So now I gotta get up and run to the next place and hide there. And you're just like, come on, dude, like, this is not gameplay. Like, I'm literally playing this just to get to the next section. The gameplay is just there to enhance the story, like to fill in the spaces between story. It was terrible. Like, really, it was awful. And again, like, I'm sorry for people out there who love Uncharted, but like, seriously, I've not been that mad at some games. Well, Tekken exists, but like, I haven't been that mad at like video games in a while. Like, I really did not enjoy Uncharted 1 and 2. I just didn't. Like, it was crazy. So, anyways. Yeah, I mean, like, that's why Nintendo games are so good, right? It's like Mario Kart. We're racing! Woohoo! The end. Game over. Yeah, like, great. Wonderful. Right? Like, oh, Mario Tennis. We're playing tennis. Yay! Like, dude, just give me a good freaking video game, dude. Like, give me a reason to play the video game. That's not the story. Now, I'm not saying that story video games shouldn't exist. They absolutely should exist. In fact, 2 of my favorite video games of all time are very story-based. Final Fantasy VI, Silent Hill 2, right? Silent Hill 2. So, like, obviously story is very important, but my favorite game of all time is Tetris, right? Like, story is not the only thing that you have to have. So just please, just give me... Like, let's just start making great video games. And you know what? You know what the crazy thing about it is? All the games that have gone viral in the past few years, like the real viral video games, don't really have stories, right? Like, Fortnite doesn't have a story. I know they added stories to Minecraft, and they're making a movie, but that certainly didn't have a story. Angry Birds didn't have stories. Like, like, people just want fun games, dude. Like, just give us some fun freaking games, dude. Come on, dude. And if you're gonna make a real story game, make a real story game. Please write a good story game. Not a good story for a video game. Like, actually write a good story. Because, like, Final Fantasy VI and Silent Hill 2 have some of the best narratives that I've ever seen, right? Like, their narratives are really good. And not only that, but their narratives largely depend on how you played the game. You can play Final Fantasy VI and not find Gao's backstory anywhere. if you just didn't bring the right two characters to a certain area. Like, there's the only way to get Gao's backstory is if you bring two specific characters to a specific place on the overworld and you get it. And if you never do that, you might miss it. In Silent Hill 2, the entire ending changes based on how you interact with everything, how you treat yourself, and how they perceive your value on life, basically. Like, it's so sick. Like if that's how you're gonna tell a story, like, tell us that way, you know? Don't just make us advance from point to point to get to the next plot point, you know? Like, come on. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. Okay, so I like F-Zero and Mario Kart for two very different reasons, but I love them both. So I get it, because, like, you know, if Nintendo is like, we can't make a new F-Zero because we don't know what to do to make it, dude, just reskin F-Zero GX and make it so that if you play 4 players, you don't have to kill any of the graphics. Like, just give us 4 player, or give us 30 player online F-Zero GX Battle Royale. Like, you don't have to make a new game. Just give us F-Zero GX again with new features. That's it. Yeah, like, everybody who wants a new F-Zero, everybody who loves F-Zero, F-Zero GX, Nintendo's right, is like the ultimate F-Zero game. How do you top that? Well, if you can't, don't bother. Just give us that game again with new graphics. Like I said, with the ability to play 30-player online races, and then even 4-player split screen, because one of the biggest weaknesses of F-Zero GX, when you played split screen 4 players, the graphics got hacked. So, like, there's the one stage where you're driving through the forest and you're in the tunnels, and the tunnels are just gone, right? Like, the tunnels aren't there when you play 4-player split screen. So you can fix that now because you've got stronger machines, and then just let us play freaking 30-player online battle royale where we're all trying to spin each other to death and stuff. And dude, that's it. That's all you need. And then you die in the race and you go start another one somewhere else. Battle royale, dude. Like, well, to be fair, Super Kokojin, it was a combination effort of Sega, Nintendo, and Bandai Namco. Whoops. A combination between all 3 of them. So it really did take all 3 companies to make the greatest F-Zero in the world. So VF Zero R.E.V.O. Oh my god. I think they announced the new Shinobi, right? Because they're like, we're doing a new Crazy Taxi, we're doing a new Golden Axe, I thought Shinobi was one of them, so. But in any case, that's a tangent. Anyways, that's me being an old man complaining about the Game Awards again, so. So, frankly, I don't expect anything out of the Game Awards. Anyways, yeah. I mean, the main selling point of Uncharted was the summer action movie style. Then just make a damn movie, dude. Just make a freaking damn movie, dude. Like, because again, Uncharted, the story is good for a video game. It's only impressive because it's a video game and you don't expect that out of a video game. But if that was the storyline for an action movie, it would be a schlocky kind of like whatever movie. You'd be like, the dialogue is corny, like who cares, blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's like you're not a good movie and you're a terrible game as a result. So, like, what are you making, right? Like I've heard people like, oh, you know, in the beginning of, you know, Uncharted 2, when you climb the train, the game starts with you climbing the train on the cliff. It's so amazing. And I'm like, hold up. Oh, they're prompting me to hit a button, jump. Like, you literally can't die in that section. And there's only one path. Like, how is this one of the greatest video game sequences ever? I'm holding up and hitting a button. What the, like, seriously, like, how is this compelling? I don't know. I don't see it. I guess it's just not for me or something, but like, I seriously, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it, you know? And it's just like, anyways. All right, no, I'm getting all heated up. Let's thank you guys for watching. It was Tuesday with your host, James Chen. I never played any of the Ape Escapes, though I really wanted to, because they sounded sick. They sounded like, see, that was a great game because it was a gimmick of like using 2 controllers kind of thing, right? So that sounded neat. That's the thing, is like video games need to have gimmicks. Like, give me a freaking gimmick on what makes your game stand out over all the other ones, right? Like, a lot of the times these games, they're trying to outdo the other games by having a better story. Or, you know, like, no, like, give me something unique that I've never done before. I don't want to do square, 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 roll, square, 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 roll, square, 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 roll. I don't want to have rolling be an invincible mechanic anymore, okay? Stop the stupid invincible roll mechanic, please. Stop it. And you know what? They do it because you're playing a 3D game, and 3D games don't work with action. 3D, you cannot replicate depth on a 2D screen. So it just doesn't work. Come up with something creative. Do something different. Doesn't have to be super hyper realistic. I can spin the camera 360 and run wherever I want. Give us a freaking video game. People like Space Channel 5, you know? Like, how many people in the chat have fond memories of Space Channel 5? Do you know how realistic the gameplay was? It wasn't. You walked to the next section and you went up, down, right, choo, choo, choo. And this game is amazing, right? Like, you have fun. Like, why do I have to, dude, just give me a freaking video game. No, dude, you guys are baiting me into more. Okay, no. Thank you guys for watching It Was Tuesday with your host, James Chen. Hope you guys enjoyed everything, and remember, the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.